Um, as we move forward today, we can have a record of all the good stuff we talk about. Today, we all, from all these different colleges all over the place, all got together just because we're all kind of working in this remote environment, and we want to think of some ways that we could identify some strengths, some hopes, some activities and challenges, so we can help students do this online writing thing. We want to connect to each other writing colleagues, and exchange those successful practices. And we're also hoping to maybe identify some common inquiry questions that we could then use for future roundtables, professional learning activities, and materials that we could develop in the future as well. So just a couple of moments on logistics. Everybody is going to start muted, but nobody will end muted because this is a roundtable discussion, right? So in order to participate, you can type something in the chat. You can raise your Zoom hand and we'll call on you. If you can't find the Zoom hand, you can wave your arms wildly in the air or put a 1 in the chat. And Mara is going to be watching the chat. So if there are any questions, she will see it. All right. So all of this magic happens in that row at the bottom, that toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you haven't already found it, go ahead and click chat. And then and the chat comes up, put your name, college, role in the chat. We also have a little blue Zoom hand. So if you want to raise your hand to speak, you could just click on the participants button in that toolbar and a bar will come up on the side and there will be a little blue hand that comes up. If you want to practice raising your hand right now, I won't call on you. But later, if you raise your little Zoom hand, I will call on you. So feel free to practice right now. And then, of course, there's unmute. So just that little old-timey microphone there in the far corner of that touch bar. Click that once to turn. I just muted myself as I was done. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So see, learning in action. So in order to work together today, we are going to set up just a couple of quick community agreements. First community agreement is get ready to really do some active participation. We're going to put you into breakout rooms. We're going to be discussing things, and we're going to create some collaborative documents together. So do be present. If you're the person who is doing 5 things right now, you're checking emails, you're into Zoom meetings, you're tending to your children, and you're cooking breakfast or lunch or dinner, bless you, we love you, and we have been you. We have all been you, but that probably isn't the best way to participate today. So if you can't participate fully, if you need to step out, just go ahead and send me a quick message and let me know so I don't put you in a breakout room and so you just don't leave somebody in their breakout room alone. Okay. If you can be present, just be ready to share your successes, solutions to any barriers, and then let's just commit to being nice to each other. Learning starts with safety and safety starts with kindness. So do support and encourage others as they have questions and they want to share their observations. All right. So we're going to do a quick warm up. So I want to invite you to just grab some scratch paper, like whatever's laying around, or just open up a new document, or just gaze off into the universe and contemplate the following question. We're going to take 2 minutes to think, write, or type. We've all been online for 8 months now, if you can believe that. And there have been, oh my goodness, a ton of challenges, but I think we've actually been navigating through this admirably well. Thank you very much, all things considered. So what's been working? What's a success that you have found in supporting students in their writing in the last 8 months? And I'm sure you have tons of questions. So what are some big questions that you want to share with a colleague today who's also a writing colleague so you can get some ideas? So I'm just going to set my timer for 2 silent minutes so we can think, write, or type. Any questions? All right, hit it. All right. So as you're finishing up that thought, we're going to invite you to share it with the rest of the community today. So Mara is going to put a link in the chat. That's going to be, that's going to take you to a collaborative Google slide file. So that's something that we're going to all contribute to together. So when you're there, we're just going to ask you to share what you just wrote, thought of, or typed on this document. If you go to slide 2 on that slide deck, There's a blue slide, and I'll show it to you in a second. And on one side, I'll ask you to write down one thing that has worked for you. And on the other side, I'll just ask you to write down one question. I encourage you to click on every other bullet so we don't type over each other. That's a thing that happens a lot around here. And I'll just give us an additional 2 minutes to think that through. And I see you're already there, you're doing it. And it's okay if it goes below all the way down here, that is totally fine. So I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes, and I see the anonymous tiger is on it. You go, tiger. Are there any questions on this? If you have any questions, go ahead and raise your Zoom hand, or put it in the chat. We'll put a 1 in the chat, and we'll get those questions answered. All right, go ahead and finish up that last question, and feel free to create more bullets at the bottom. No problem, we can just keep going. And I see some good themes coming up here. Definitely in terms of the things that are working, the workshops are working, fast turnaround, lots of demands. I'm also seeing a lot of themes in those questions. How do we do this asynchronous thing? How does that work? And I think another big question is that barrier access. How do we get students in? And oh my goodness, technology and platform integration. What a mess. So a lot of great themes, a lot of great questions coming up. Thank you for sharing that. Now that our brains are a little bit warmed up, we are going to sort of get ourselves into groups so we can think about each of these a little bit more deeply. So go ahead and move that out of the way. So, so now we got together, those of us from all these different colleges, and we decided on some inquiry questions for today. So we'll go over those inquiry questions now. And while I'm going over them, just pick one that you want to explore more deeply today. And then if you'd like to come back, we're going to do this again Thursday, December 3rd at 5 p.m. and we'll pick different questions on that day based on the discussion from today. So this will be an iterative conversation that changes as we go. So today, pick one of these 3 questions. Question number 1, types of services. So those of you who asked about that async stuff, this is a great place for you to be. What kind of high quality online support can we offer students? One-to-one, paper drop off. We can't just take the stuff that we did face-to-face and put it online. It's not working. What doesn't translate, what does translate, what else is possible, and how can we go about making it high quality, good stuff, right? So you can either choose that inquiry question to delve into today, or inquiry question number 2 is how do we get folks to engage in or collaborate online? So how can we get campus partners to help us make this more visible? How can we get faculty, peer educators, student input? Or if you've got that multiple center campus, how can you get those different centers to collaborate? And then your third possible inquiry questions today is how do we get more students to come? So some of you have no problem with demand. You come and tell us what is working because we need to know your mojo. How do we reach out to students when they're not physically on campus and they don't check their emails? What's your social media presence looking like? How do we get people to spread the word, our students and our faculty? So those are kind of our 3 options. So we're going to go, Mara's going to put that link to the collaborative document back in the chat, just in case you closed it. And this time we're going to go to slide 3. And once you're there, you're just going to put your name down in one of the 3 boxes there to indicate which of these 3 inquiry questions you'd like to explore. And I see people are already doing it, which is pretty neat. So go ahead and put your name here. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. I'm going to put you into rooms of like 3 to 5 people based on the inquiry question that you've picked. And I'll be working on that feverishly as you type. Any questions? All right. Cool. All right. I am setting my timer now.
Crystal?
Yes.
I actually can't figure out how to do this.
Okay, just tell me.
I'm really sorry.
Joan, is that you?
No, my name is Lucy Bear.
No worries, Lucy. Just tell me which room you want to go into. Which question would you like to explore?
Okay.
So do you want one, the first one, the second one, or the third one?
Number 1.
Number 1. All right, great. You're in. Anybody else having problems or not getting in there in the way they would like to get in there?
But I actually don't see my name, and I don't, what do I click on that?
Nope, you don't have to do anything. It's all done for you. We got you. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right. All right, so I'm going to assign our monitors now as well. So, and the 707, I'll kind of figure out who you are. And Ella wants to go into the third one, so that's great. Okay, all right, we're all set. So now I've got the room set. And if you don't go into a room when I open it up, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. So now that you have your question picked out, now we're just going to spend a moment thinking about what you want to talk about when you get there. So now that you kind of narrowed your inquiry question down, again, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes, and I just want you to think, write, or type on that question. Why did you pick that inquiry question? What successes, if any, have you had? What do you hope to accomplish in the next year within that inquiry question? And what questions do you want to ask somebody else? So just think, write, or type, and I will set the timer. Any questions? Okay, so as you're just finishing up that thought, I'm just going to show you how these rooms will work. So I'm going to open up these rooms. They're all set up, they're all ready to go, and they're all organized by the question that you picked. So what we'd like you to do is each room already has a note taker designated in it. So you just pick a timekeeper, and then in your group, give a little bit of time for intros, 1 to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, name, college, role, and then share a little bit of what you just wrote. Right? And then just go ahead and engage in open crosstalk. Talk about, suggestions, questions, successes, concerns, anything you need. As you're talking, your note taker will actually write stuff down for you. So they'll take notes for you on a Google slide. So all you'll need to do then is designate a speaker, because when we come back at the end of 22 minutes of open discussion, each team will share out. So if we go back to this collaborative document, as you can see, each room has a number associated with it. And so your note taker, who already knows who they are, by the way, and they already know what they're doing, they'll kind of take notes for you as you go. So y'all can just focus on the discussion. Are there any questions? Okay, all right, in that case, I'm gonna open up the rooms. We'll see you back here in 22 minutes. If you have trouble, call us, we'll come and get you, we'll help. And if you're in the wrong room, come tell me and I'll move you. And I'll see you back here in 22. So I'm opening the rooms now. You will have to accept the room. So it'll ask you to join, so just go ahead and click join. If you don't see it, you can go to the bottom taskbar. There's a little thing that says breakout rooms. Click on that, it should come right up. All right, cool. So 707, who are you and how can I help? I wasn't sure who you were. Are you there? Okay, I think that's just a second device. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording. Thank you, Mara. I always forget to do that. I appreciate you. All right, so welcome back. You always know it's a good breakout when you close the breakout rooms and nobody comes back early. Everybody has to get pulled out after that last minute. I apologize. I know it's not enough time. This is the first conversation, definitely not the last. So what I would like to do is just have a quick share out from each of the groups. So the way we're going to do it is based on the number of groups that we have and the number of minutes we have left, we can get each team 2 minutes to just give us an overview of some of the successes, questions, recommendations that your team came up with. So hopefully your group came up with a speaker for the group to share. And then as each speaker is speaking, just grab a piece of paper or that blank document and kind of write down questions that you have. And so we have 4 teams, so 2 minutes each, so 8 minutes just to get a quick overview report out. And then we'll spend the rest of the time answering questions and in crosstalk with the whole group. All right. So let's start with room 1. So who was in that team and what did y'all talk about?
Okay, I guess I can take the lead on this one.
All right, do it. All right, thanks, Matthew.
So, our thing was about, what kind of high quality online support can we offer to students, and, it didn't take us long to come up with like a wish list of what we would do as tutorial centers if money were no object. So, obviously ensuring, availability is one big kind of tenet, I would say, of providing online feedback in particular. Um, Determining, what kind of resources beyond simply the feedback that we give, whether that's in the form of like videos. I believe our note taker Brad had mentioned how at his campus they were doing some kind of video feedback in addition to their kind of base feedback. Um, we talked about a lot of different things that we might do, like, how do we create more effective training for tutors, and how do we make sure that that translates into the online platform? How do we create buy-in from other stakeholders? Because I think one of the challenges that, everybody in the group kind of acknowledged was, we're seeing a lot of feedback from some pockets of the campus, but not necessarily all of the pockets of the campus that we're accustomed to seeing. So how do we reestablish that and ensure that their students would be getting the same level of service and things like that? Am I missing anything, Lucy or Vincent?
I think the only other thing I'd add is just for those of us at rural campuses and rural districts, just internet access for students and figuring out how to make that more accessible. But I feel like that's more like a statewide federal issue that I hope we all continue to advocate for.
But also potentially something that we can more proactively seek out resources for, right? So great. Thank you, Team Room 1. Appreciate you. Now let's move on to Team 2. That was Jeffrey, John, and Rebecca. Who's your speaker?
I'm happy to speak.
Oh, Jeffrey, thanks.
So our inquiry question, what high quality online support can we offer to students? So I think I'll start with the questions first. So oh no, I'm on the wrong slide. It's not. I'm looking at room 1. Hold on a second here. Room 2. So our inquiry question was regarding the collaboration. This sounds more familiar. Okay, so starting with the questions, so John brought up the question of how can we make synchronous online labs and drop-in workshops work in his college environment, and then they're doing more asynchronous right now. And then my own question was really looking for asynchronous writing assistance, and how might that be done, and how could perhaps it be sort of blended, and so that students and writing assistants perhaps could collaborate with each other in more different way rather than just synchronous face-to-face. So we also had the question of how we might be able to make a live chat work without driving people crazy. Also for synchronous and asynchronous modalities, what kinds of software for scheduling, let's say synchronous, might be useful on John's campus. That was also a question that came up that we discussed. And if you are requiring a lot of writing assistance visits, how can you do synchronous one-on-one, because that would maybe overwhelm the system? So those were questions. I think I might be running out of time though.
Yeah, that's all great questions. I think we'll probably end up exploring that one in a few minutes too, this question of high quality asynchronous, because I think that's key. Thank you. All right, super rad. Thank you. Okay, so now let's go to Team 4. So that was Azad, Brandy, Wendy.
Hi there. I'm going to speak for Team 3, which was
Azad, my apologies,
and Brandy. And we were talking about how do we get more students to access our tutoring centers, especially in this virtual environment. And we started talking about, sort of the contacts we do, sending weekly emails, whether it's from, the coordinator or preferably the tutors, to students and faculty, making videos and inviting students in, using Pronto if we have that as a messaging system right before something is happening, so that students have that advance notification and that reminder, oh yeah, that's going to happen now. We talked about the importance of sort of creating these workshops, but to get them to attend those workshops, right, we need to design our sessions based on student needs. We need to really focus on these student-centered sessions. You know, we're recognizing things like, you know, that learning is emotional, and especially right now, students don't have a lot of time. It's one of the things Wendy and I were discussing. She has a lot of drop-in tutoring. We started our semester hoping that our students would make appointments, and realized very, very quickly that our students didn't make appointments, that instead they were going, oh, well, net tutor's an option if I just need to go right now. And so our net tutor usage spiked and our tutoring usage kind of went down. And so at midterms, we did a whole big push. We did a We Heard You campaign, and we went to Facebook and said, hey, we hear you. We know that you guys want drop-in tutoring, and we created targeted mail-in lists for each of the courses. So we reached out to bio, we reached out to psychology, and we just created these email templates that now we can use in future semesters that we're just rolling out in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. But there's still some major challenges that we have as far as getting people to come, getting buy-in. Wendy, what else did I miss? You're still muted.
Oh.
I think you got it. That was really good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Right. Thank you.
And then we devolved into a discussion about data.
Oh, well, that's going to be next week or next session for sure, Brandy. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right, very cool. Okay, now room 4. Apologies for mixing up those rooms. We have Ala, Chase, and Joan.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Crystal, how much time do I have? 2 minutes?
2 minutes, yeah.
2 minutes. And just wanted to say quickly, also, I so much appreciate sharing this space with you. I started coordinating the Writing Center this semester, and I was, I applied to coordinate face-to-face, and I've been thrown into this world. I really need this collaboration with you. I'm just begging and asking you to create more opportunities like this and connect us so we can cooperate in between, please. So that's one ask, going a little bit off topic, but important. And so to share what we have, 1 second, please. I minimize this. And so, gosh, too many documents here. Sorry. Okay. So the questions that came up were, how does one person do all of the work that goes into coordinating a writing center? How does that person find the time? What is the best way to reach the students? Websites, and how do we create or come up with really great websites targeting to our students' needs? Where do we get started with all of the let's see, how do we advertise? And let's see, should we advertise campus-wide? And this was another question, like writing centers. Do we advertise campus-wise? Do we advertise to only specific division, let's say the LA division, or only the English department? In our case, it's a writing center. So some ideas we thought about, that was, for example, excellent, was partnering with the ASO, Associated Student Body, and have the cooperate and collaborate with them. And let the students know, advertise through them. And then another idea is EOPNS, for example. In my case, the EOPNS coordinator said, Ala, give me square advertisement flyer. I can post it and tweet it. But then the problem was our schedule got messed up and changed. And I don't have a flyer. I don't have that flyer that is in my head, because we were thrown into this world of like, we're thinking, where do we start? How does this work? Or another thing we're thinking, how about we beg and ask the college to give us some prime property, which is what they call us, called the web page, front page on our campus. Can we have a button that says tutor, and it's a flashy button, but that can say tutoring. And then when the students come to the front page of the Mission College website, for example, there is in the corner this tutoring flashing button that people can click on and then start looking for the different services right from there, instead of having to click on all these different buttons to access us.
Beautiful.
These are some ideas.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So as we sort of bring this to a little bit of a close, just a couple of thoughts. First of all, those of us who are facilitating this event, there's about 4 of us here. We're going to hang out for another half an hour or so. So if you want to continue the conversation, I know it's just a little taste, but some people only have an hour. Some people have a little bit longer. So if you want to continue the crosstalk, just want to say first, you are very welcome to stay after 4 o'clock. We'll be here until 4:30. Also, now that we have this beautiful document here, I know that we didn't get through it all, and some of you didn't get to be in the teams that maybe you wanted to be. Sorry about that, Jeffrey, my bad. I put him in the wrong room. So you can download this PowerPoint, and then you can use that as to discover what other folks are doing. Also, we have more conversations that we're planning on this. And so Mara is just put a link in the chat. That's just a super quick survey. That survey will just ask you to just tell us kind of 3 things that you would like to oh, I'm sorry, that's actually to the PowerPoint. 3 things that you would like to explore in the future. So she's going to put it up in a second. It's a link to a Google form. So you can just click on 3 topics that you would like to explore. So that'll be coming here in a second. Also, there are a lot of other resources that you can use. We do have a Discord server, Jeffrey. That's an excellent suggestion. So if you want to stay for more discussion, that's fine. But we're also going to have more workshops like this. We'll have this conversation again on the 5th of, I'm sorry, on the 3rd of December. We're going to do this again at 5 p.m., exploring different questions based on what we went over today. We'll have something on the 11th of December. So if you want to come and hear about narrative tutoring from Grossmont College, you're very welcome to do that. If you'd like to showcase your work, contact me because this was a collaborative effort, like I said, from a lot of different colleges. So we need you to help us talk about the things that we need to be talking about. So if you're doing something rad, come and let us know. Maybe you could do a workshop like this one. And of course, there's a bunch of other cool professional writing center-ish organizations, including ACLA, 3CSN, CRLA, IWCA, and OWI. So check those out. Jeffrey, I don't suppose you have our Discord link handy, do you? Because we do have a Discord server that we use for our peer learning professionals. You're very welcome to join us on the Discord server. So Jeffrey's going to put that.
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. If not, I'll pull it up. And so yeah, so please do, this should be the beginning of the conversation and not the end of the conversation. Please do click on this link and just tell us, click 3 things that you think that we should explore next time. And then we will do the next roundtable discussion based on what you tell us here. So we have about a minute left. So for those of you who need to leave at 4 o'clock, I want to be respectful of that. And I want to thank you for your time and effort and energy. For those of you who would like to join us on the Discord server, Jeffrey just put our Discord link up there so you can join us there. We have all kinds of cool stuff happening there. And if you would like to continue on with this conversation today, asking questions and so on, you're very welcome to do that. All right. So with that, thank you for everybody who has to leave, and I'll open this up to questions for folks who want to stick around a little bit longer.